Sam Osmanagich, PhD, is a scientist, megalithic and pyramid site researcher, and is internationally acclaimed author of 18 books on ancient civilization. Each are translated into 17 languages. Dr. Sam discovered the Bosnian pyramid and is the principal investigator of the most active archaeological site in the world. Dr. Sam holds a PhD on Mayan pyramids. He was the anthropology professor and director for the Center of Anthropology at the American University, and he is a foreign member of the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences, the Alexandrian Archaeological Society, and Croatian Academy of Science and Arts. Dr. Sam is the founder of the nonprofit, non-government archaeological park Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun Foundation in Sarajevo. It is registered for archaeological digging, scientific research, and the promotion of archaeological tourism. Dr. Sam has procured multiple prestigious awards from around the world, including Man of the Year from Bosnia Herzegovina in 2007 and 2020, including the first honoree of the Amelia B. Edwards Award for outstanding research and advancement of knowledge of pyramids around the world here at the Global Pyramid Conference in 2016. We are very blessed once again to have him present, sharing Mayan pyramids and their secrets, the real mystery of Mayan pyramids. Please welcome Dr. Sam.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I was really privileged to receive the first Amelia Edwards Award back in 2016 at the first Global Pyramid Conference. So thank you, Martha, for organizing this event. In the meantime, 3 of our good friends also received the recognition. We have Sri Brahmarshi Patriji, late Patriji, unfortunately, a great pyramid researcher, and 2 more, Mary Harding from Michigan. And Martha asked me to give 2 talks. The first one about the pyramids around the world, and very specifically about the Mayan pyramids. And tomorrow about the Bosnian pyramid healing energy. I have been researching the megalithic and pyramid sites for the last 4 decades, and I have concluded that almost everything they teach us about the ancient history is wrong. The origin of man, civilizations, and pyramids. The most important artifacts from Egypt is actually not in Egypt. It's in Egyptian Museum in Turin, Italy. It is called the Turin King List. On a papyrus, which is 1.70 meters, about 6 foot long, and 1.5 feet wide, there is a list of all Egyptian rulers, divided into 11 columns and 3 phases. The last phase is the phase of sons of gods. And that's how Egyptian rulers called themselves. Not the pharaohs, the name came with the ancient Greeks, but the sons of gods. They wanted to show their direct link to the gods. This phase started 5,100 years back with King Menes uniting Upper and Lower Egypt. And Egyptian pharaohs, as we know them, would rule Egypt 2 years, 10 years, or if they got lucky, like Ramesses II, 67 years. The phase number 2 was the phase of the demigods. And they would rule Egypt 200 or 300 years each. And the phase number 1 was the phase of gods. It is said in this papyrus that gods descended from the kingdom of heaven to the kingdom of earth. And they started ruling the earth. Each god would rule Egypt 1,000 years in average. Those two phases lasted 13,000 and 23,000 each. So together, more than 36,000. When we add 5,100, the third phase, now we go back for 41,700 years. So, this is the true history of Egypt. However, when Egyptologists and historians write their books, they simply skip first and second phase and take what fits their narrative, only 5,000 years. And indeed, officially, the history of advanced human civilizations, according to the non-scientific Wikipedia, non-scientific Encyclopedia Britannica, non-scientific Smithsonian, is just about 6,000 years. They're saying everything started in Sumeria, 6,000 years back. And then 5,000 years ago, Babylon, Akkad, Assyria, Hittite, ancient Egypt, ancient China, ancient India. No, this is just the last cycle of humanity. The scientific method is either you take a document or artifact as a whole, or if you have some scientific arguments, you reject it. You simply don't pick up what fits you. According to Egyptologists, and before them, French and English researchers, this was the first pyramid on Egyptian soil. It is in an area called Saqqara, stepped pyramid of Pharaoh Djoser. They are assigning it to the third dynasty ruler. However, no proofs who really built it. And then Egyptologists are saying, after Pharaoh Djoser, Pharaoh Sneferu came, who started the fourth dynasty rulers. And he built, according to them, not one, but 3 pyramids. This was the first one, bent pyramid in Dahshur, huge. However, the chambers in these pyramids are empty. This pyramid was opened to the public again in 2019, after it was closed from 1961. The story goes that Pharaoh Sneferu was not happy with the first one, so he built another pyramid, beautiful red pyramid also in Dahshur. There is a third one in Dahshur called Black Pyramid. Now, this pyramid is also empty. Passageways, chambers, a combination of the limestone and granite from Aswan. However, no paintings, no any proofs who really built it. And the Egyptians are saying, well, he was not happy with the second pyramid, so he built the third one, the step pyramid in Meidum. It seemed that it was very hard to satisfy this pharaoh. Of course, Egyptians 4,600 years ago did not have technology, engineering skills, tools, or knowledge of math and sacred geometry to build those structures. They were built much, much before, not by sons of gods, but by gods, small g, themselves. And then the fairy tales continue. They are saying the fourth dynasty rulers came. The pharaoh Khufu, Cheops, his brother or son, Khafre, and Mykerinos. And they built the most magnificent pyramids ever at the Giza Plateau. Well, if you are building such a huge construction and you start without ego, then you would make sure that people thousands of years after your age would know exactly who built them. However, from the outside, we have no proof who built them. You go inside, monumental passageways, No paintings on the walls, besides granite blocks. Chamber style, empty, again, granite blocks. The biggest one in Khufu or Great Pyramid of Egypt is 80 tons. The biggest one in Khafre is 220 tons. They've been dragged all the way from Aswan, which is 869 kilometers to the south, or 500 miles. How? We don't have a good answer, except for the fairy tales by Egyptologists that they built barges, wooden barges, and they placed 220 tons. And the Japanese experts, 35 years, tried to repeat the whole process, build a barge according to the hieroglyphic symbols, and they brought 2-ton blocks. They placed it on the barge, and it sunk. 1 ton can be moved, not 2. If you want to explain constructions, you need to explain how 220 tons were moved. Chambers, we don't have mummies. According to non-scientific websites that I mentioned earlier, Wikipedia, Encyclopedia Britannica, and the others, those pyramids in Egypt were used as tombs for the pharaohs. They also say that there are 118 pyramids on Egyptian soil. Actually, there are 155. I have researched, investigated, and visited all of them, and they are in my books. Not a single one has the money. Not 28 biggest stone pyramids, or others that were built from the mud bricks, inferior materials. No hieroglyphic writings on the wall, no organic materials, no tools, no royal furniture. Not a single proof who, when, how, and why. The time will show that claims by English and French elites, later on by Egyptologists and historians, supported by Hollywood movies, that Egyptian pyramids were built by the pharaohs as tombs is actually the biggest hoax in human history. When we analyze the Great Pyramid of Egypt, the length at the side is 231 meters. 2 sides, 462. The height, almost 147. And the divided, the result is 3.14, which is number pi. According to our science, this number was not invented back in Egyptian pharaonic times, 4,550 years ago, but during ancient Greek mathematicians, 2,000 years later. But it is here, in front of our eyes. In this pyramid, we have also the golden section spiral, the way how those chambers are laid out. This pyramid, there are many other astronomical and mathematical knowledge. The distance between our planet and sun, between our planet and moon, the speed of light. There is another golden section spiral. Start from here, on this line of the spiral, there are all 3 pyramids, but also the King Tut's tombs. I take a trip to Egypt every December, so we're going to be going this year also, December 2nd, December 9th. Those of you who want to join me on this exciting journey, you're welcome to do that. There are 224 Nubian pyramids in northern Sudan. There are 43 step pyramids on the island of Sicily in Italy. Volcanic stones, 4 sides. There is 1 pyramid on the island of Sardinia, unknown origin. There are 104 pyramids on Canary Islands, most of them the island of Tenerife, the largest one, and some of them on Gran Canaria. Again, 4 sides, volcanic stone, stepped in design, the same height of the steps, the same width. I've done some measurements. Some of the pyramids have square base, some of them rectangular. When I spoke to the historians at the University of Tenerife, I asked them if they visited the pyramids in the area of Guimar. They said we were there, but according to our scientists, they are not pyramids. They are just pile of rocks made by local farmers hundreds of years ago while they were clearing the area to plant the agriculture. I said, of course, they are not just pile of rocks. They are carefully made pyramids with a good orientation to the summer solstice. They started talking to me and they never came to my lecture. However, I did have about 350 students who wanted to know the truth. These pyramids were built by the culture called Guanche. Guanche had a direct link to the previous civilization before the end of the last ice age. Canaries are in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. They were building stone temples, stone cities, stone pyramids, irrigation channels. But they did not have an army. Living in the middle of the Atlantic, they did not have enemies. And then the end of the 15th and the 16th century, the Spanish conquerors started sailing to the west, to Americas. And Canaries were the first stop on their voyage. In a matter of few decades, they completely wiped off the population of Guanches. And today, in order to justify those barbaric acts, are saying, oh no, Guanches were very primitive. They were barbaric. They were not able to build pyramids or temples. So they falsify the history. We go to the other side of Africa, eastern side, the middle of the Indian Ocean, the island of Mauritius. When you go to the dense sugarcane fields, you can see the structures. You climb the top of one of them, 7 stepped pyramids in front of you. So the first researcher to do scientific analysis of those structures, it took 20,000 tons of shaped volcanic stones to build this complex. For example, this structure here has a square base, 20 meters, 95 centimeters by 2095 by 2095 by 2095. I did my report, I sent it to the government of Mauritius, and I suggested that we investigate them together. They answered me, Dr. Osmanagich, we don't have pyramids. That you claim that are pyramids are actually pile of rocks. Again, made by local farmers while de-rocking the area so they can plant the sugarcane fields. So, who to believe? Governments or our own eyes? I did have a press conference on the island, and the major media pressed me. The next day, there was a big article in the biggest daily, L'Express, and they said, smart Bosnian wants to reinvent our history. He claims that we have pyramids, which we of course don't. What is their problem? According to the official information, this island was not inhabited until the 15th century, and then the white Europeans came. Europeans never built pyramids. So now we need to change the history of this island because of pyramids. Peru had more than 300 pyramids. About 50 miles to the Nazca line, there is an area called Kavachi. When I was there the first time, 20 years back, they discovered 3 pyramids. Stepped pyramids built from the adobe bricks. In the meantime, they realized that there was a whole city of pyramids, with dozens and dozens of pyramidal structures. Who built it? When? According to the Peruvian historians, the history of this country is only 3,000 years old. The majority of the discoveries take place between 2,000 and 2,500. However, another location called Tucumán area with more than 250 pyramids will show something different. Now, as you can see, the biggest pyramid, which is called the Pyramid of the Sun, doesn't even look like a pyramid today because of the vertical erosion. However, when you start clearing the desert sand at the base, very soon you will be discovering the walls. Again, you can see the adobe bricks here. So these were the structures at one point. This erosion was caused, obviously, by the rain and the prolonged storms. Interestingly enough, in the last 8,000 years, we have the same climate in the area. It's sunny, it is desert, no greenery. So when did we have those rains and storms? More than 8,000 years, maybe more than 12,000 years. And when the pyramids were built, even before that. The largest pyramid in Peru is Huaca del Sol, the Pyramid of the Sun, in the northern part of the country, close to the town of Trujillo. 2 huge structures called Huaca del Sol and Huaca de la Luna, the Pyramid of the Moon. The surface of this pyramid equals 5 football fields. And this is just 1/3 of the original size. Namely, in the 16th century, about 1530s, when the Spaniards came, they had only one goal in their mind, and that would be to find the gold and silver and precious materials. So when they came here, they were frightened when they saw such a huge, humongous structure. So what they did, they moved the river bed of the river Moche exactly towards the pyramid. So 2/3 of the structure had been washed away. What we have today, it is about 150 million adobe bricks. This is adobe brick. The way you make it, you take desert sand, clay, and the water. You mix it, you put it in the mold, leave it under the sun for 25 days, and you got your construction material. However, 150 million Huaca del Sol, 150 million Huaca de la Luna. If we think that at least 20,000 workers are working in the site, it would take them 300 years to build this complex. For 20,000 workers, you need a city of at least 50,000 people. Interestingly enough, in the last few decades, only 2 residential houses were discovered. And not only that, look at those bricks. You can see some diagonal lines. You can see some dots, 1 dot, 2 dots. We have 150 million originals. Bolivia, the country with the pyramids as well. Acapena Pyramid Complex was a huge step pyramid. Today we can only see blocks scattered around. But those blocks, if you take a better look, are made from granite. Granite is one of the hardest materials in the nature. On a Mach scale from 1 to 10, granite is 6.5. Archaeologists claim that the only tools they had at the time were the copper tools. On the same scale from 1 to 10, copper is 3. Inferior. You cannot shape superior materials with inferior tools. As a matter of fact, today, to shape the granite, we use diamond tools. Some of the blocks has a laser straight surface. This surface can use today actually as an instrument to measure how straight something is. And some of them, like those bottom right, were obviously machined. Mr. Poznansky, an independent researcher, concluded that this complex was built 50,000 years ago. So, who had diamond tools, lasers, and machines 50,000 years ago? The most northern Mexican city with the pyramids is called Tula. Officially, it was built by Toltecs. And then Toltecs, according to those mainstream scientists, mysteriously disappeared from Tula, appearing in Chichen Itza, 3,000 miles to the east. On the top of one of the pyramids, we can see 8 stone columns. They call them Atlanteans. And they claim that the builders came from the east, from the Red Land. Well, to the east from Mexico is the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Red Land, obviously, that's volcanic soil. And indeed, until 55,000 years ago, we did have 2 huge islands or 2 small continents, volcanic origin, in the middle of the Atlantic, between Europe and US. Then the first one sunk, the one to the north, and the second one sunk most probably 11,700 years ago, and down 3,600 meters below the sea level. That's probably good land to what many people call mysterious land of Atlantis. Chichen Itza, a beautiful example of the pyramid architecture built in Yucatan, in Mexico. Almost the same architecture, but 10,000 miles to the east. This is northeastern Cambodia, the Koch-Ker pyramid, 7-tier pyramid, 7 element of sacred geometry, very important number. This pyramid has 4 triangular faces. 4 sides match the cardinal points, east, west, north, and south. From the top, there is a passageway going straight down at 90 degrees, leading to 2 chambers. No artifacts, because that was not their purpose. They were resonant chambers. To the right and to the left, several artificial lakes, ponds, were made, connected with canals. The water moves, now we have kinetic energy. The water moves, now it releases negative ions. 2 different types of materials were used. One is sandstone, about 15% of the quartz crystal, and another one is volcanic stone. Volcanic stone, iron energy. And now we are getting to some of the common elements of the pyramids. And I'll talk about them tomorrow. 1967, the Chinese archaeologists had a conference in Japan. and he announced that almost 250 pyramids were discovered in the central Chinese province of Shanxi. 20 big ones and 230 small ones. All of them covered by soil at the time. He said that he found clay tablets with hieroglyphic writings, which he partially deciphered. And he said that those pyramids were built 12,500 years ago, after the cosmic accident. The spaceship ended up in this Chinese plateau. They could not repair it, so they had to stay on this planet. And they continued the tradition of building pyramids. He came back to China, and they put him into the mental hospital. Nobody heard about him no more. The year is 1967. This is the first year of the famous Chinese Cultural Revolution. If you had different opinions than mainstream, you wouldn't have a good time. Well, here we are, 55 years later. Any difference? After that, the Chinese government decided to plant the trees, mostly pine trees, on their pyramids. When I visited the site, I was the first foreigner who actually had a lecture at the Archaeological Institute in Xi'an, the capital of the province. And I spoke to the leading archaeologists. They told me they do not have permissions to dig on the biggest pyramids. The other day I heard Graham Hancock, who visited the site, and he talked to the travel agents and official guides, and he was told that China is a very poor country and they cannot investigate those pyramids. You don't rely on official guides when you make your conclusions. China is not a poor country. This is the most powerful economy in the world today. But when you talk to the experts, then you will find the real truth. They told me that they completely researched several smaller pyramids, and they were built between 2,300 years ago and 1,000 before present. They found a lot of archaeological materials belonging to the Chinese generals, emperors, princesses, but they do not have permission to research the big ones. Those small ones, they were built from the inferior materials, from the mud bricks, which is even today construction material in China, like in Egypt. But the big ones are built from sandstone and granite. They cannot touch them because they would change the Chinese history forever. Officially, 5,000 years, communities in China, and 2,300 years of advanced society. Emperor Qin united in blood 7 Chinese provinces. He started the Chinese state. The same currency, he built the Great Chinese Wall. And now, because of pyramids, we need to go back for 10,000 years. They're not ready for that. This is the look of the most famous pyramids in Mexico, the Pyramid of the Sun, in the city of Teotihuacan. In Nahuatl language, Teotihuacan means the place where men became gods. This site is assigned to Toltecs also, Rome. It took about 75 years and 4 long archaeological campaigns by Mexican and American archaeologists to completely clear it. And this is how it looks like today. When you look at it from the base, it seems that the builders wanted to reach the sky. And indeed, impressive 74 meters. Interestingly enough, the Great Pyramid of Egypt is exactly 2 times higher. Now, as we heard, in the Great Pyramid of Egypt, we have number pi incorporated. In this pyramid, we have square root of number pi incorporated. The length of the Great Pyramid of Egypt, 231 meters. The length of the Mexican pyramid, 231 meters. There are 3 major pyramids at the Giza Plateau: Khufu, Khafre, and Mykerinos. There are 3 big pyramids in Teotihuacan: pyramids of the Sun, Moon, and Quetzalcoatl. And their layout is exactly the same. They are telling us there was no communication between continents thousands of years back, and here we can see the signature of the same architect. Almost everything they teach us about the ancient history is wrong. The pyramids in the United States of America, they don't teach us about them. They are not in the history books. However, even today, in this very state of Illinois, in southwestern corner, we have remaining 120 pyramids. They are located in Cahokia National Park, and they are called Cahokia Mounds. Originally, more than 250 pyramids. What is the difference between the mound and the pyramid? The pyramid is a structure. You use artificial construction material. And the mound, you use dirt only. And you build mounds. Well, behind me, there is a biggest pyramid, which they called Monks' Mound. In the 17th century, we had French monks over there. And the whole site got its name because of the minor Indian tribe called Cahokia, which had nothing to do with the original builders. Deception starts with the names. So, the biggest pyramid is a stepped pyramid. This is the view, bottom right. From the air, you can clearly see 4 triangular faces, 4 sides, you can see 4 corners. In order to build this structure made from sandstone blocks shaped on all 6 sides, pebbles, rocks, and sand, and when they completed the structure, they cut the squares of soil and grass, turn it upside down, and cover the pyramid. So in order to build this structure, they need an equivalent of 122,000 trucks with the construction material. 122,000 20-ton trucks. And to build the whole complex, millions and millions of tons of material. I spoke to the archaeologist at the site. He's a state archaeologist. I asked him, have you done any research, digging? Have you found any chambers, passageways, underground water flows? He answered me, no. I said, why not? He said, well, first, it's very hard to get the permissions. And secondly, archaeology is very expensive. I said, permissions? I mean, this is the state park, state property. You are state archaeologists. It would be very easy for you to get permissions. And secondly, I agree, archaeology is very expensive because it takes years and decades. However, America, at the time, when I talked to him 15 years back, America is the only superpower. And if we in Bosnia could run the most active archaeological site in the world, we, as the least developed country in Europe, for you it should be a piece of cake. There is another problem though. In 1970, the museum has been built at the site. $20 million. Today it's about $200 million. You can do a lot for that money. The whole museum is filled with half-naked Indians. And they're saying those Indians built pyramids. Well, Indians were nomads. They did not have fixed structures. They did not have permanent structures, especially not 250 pyramids. So if not them, then who? Somebody much deeper in the past. Probably the members of Smithsonian's back in the second half of 19th century, when the Smithsonian was established, would know that answer. Smithsonian formed a number of teams with the aim to destroy all the mounds in the US. For example, just in the state of Ohio, today there are 74,000 registered mounds. Originally more than 200,000. So they destroyed hundreds of thousands of mounds and traces of previous civilization. In the interview, the leader of one of their teams, 1884, for Chicago Tribune, was saying, yes, our role is to destroy them, to retrieve archaeological materials, and take them to the Smithsonian. We thought that the museums were established to show artifacts. Instead, they were established to hide more than 99% of the artifacts from us, public. Three Monte Vecchio pyramids in Italy, completely covered by soil, stepped in design. And their layout exactly the same like the layout of Teotihuacan pyramids or Giza pyramids in Egypt. Pyramids were built in Western Java. Gunung Padang, the hill of light, in the middle of the jungle. The pyramid was discovered, which is 100 meters in height, four-sided, but completely covered by forest. Our friend, Dr. Danny Hillman, made his discovery 6 months after I discovered the Adnan pyramids. He did some excavation with the help of the president of Indonesia, who actually gave him 200 soldiers to dig there, because complete cultural establishment was against this project. What he did in a very short period of time, he got the idea how the pyramid was designed. It was a stepped pyramid, built from the shaped volcanic stones, with at least 4 phases, 2,500 years, 5,000, 11,500, and 28,500 years old. So the pyramid itself was 28,500. And again, the same scenario. Deeper we go in the past, we have more sophisticated and more superior structure. Those that they came later were inferior. So the theory of evolution, before we were primitive cavemen, and today we are the most intelligent, the most advanced, and the most beautiful, is not right. After the election that year, the new president came, who listened to the archaeologists and historians from the country, and this project was started. Even today, 17 years later, he was not able to continue. 28,500. The history of Asia had to be changed. There are pyramids even on Korean peninsula. Only 3 remained near the town of Andong, circular in shape. Urbanization took a toll, destroying most of them. There are pyramids even the 6th continent, Australia. Hour and a half drive from Brisbane on eastern coast. There is a town of Gympie. Close to Gympie, there was a hill which was shaped on all 4 sides in triangular fashion. The sides were oriented to the cardinal points. On top, there were a number of megaliths and 4 more megaliths on each side. The Australian government destroyed this pyramid in 2022, building the highway. When I take people for the tours in Israel, Jordan, Palestine, we also visit the pyramid in Bet Shemesh. That's halfway from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. It was a stepped pyramid. 11 layers, nicely shaped blocks. There are no 2 blocks of same size. 4-sided pyramid with the perfect orientation. And the tunnel underneath. Israeli archaeologists have estimated the age of 5,000 years. I would say at least. And they assign it to the Jewish communities. Jewish had nothing to do with the pyramid building. In April of 2005, I first came to the Bosnian town of Visoko, near the capital city of Sarajevo. I came to visit the local museum. However, what really caught my attention was this elevation. Everybody called it a natural hill because it's been covered by soil and forest. Forest was planted back in 1960s and 1970s. However, armed with the knowledge about the pyramids around the world, what I was looking at was the shape and geometry. I could clearly see 4 sides, one in front of us, one to the left, one to the right, one in the back. 4 triangular faces, 4 corners, and the same slope from bottom to the top. So it's very obvious that this was a pyramid shape. In the meantime, we started the project. I established a non-profit corporation called Archaeological Park Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun Foundation, and like I said, it has become the most active archaeological site in the world. Every year, hundreds of volunteers, our workers, experts from different fields. We concluded that the pyramid was built from the ancient concrete. Whatever we did, we are finding artificial concrete material. This is one of our trenches, our sonda, number 4C. 4 feet below the soil, rectangular blocks. This one is 15 feet by 5 feet by 1.5 feet, 8 tons. Next to it, another rectangular block, another one. But also below this block, there is a 2nd row, the 3rd row, 4th row. This is a structure. We have analyzed the material, sending samples to 7 different institutes for materials. They all told us that it was an artificially made concrete. When it comes to concrete, you can measure the quality of concrete based on 2 elements. The first one is hardness. Harder the concrete, better the quality. Our concretes today are from 10 to 60 megapascals. 5 minutes, really?
Really?
Okay. This concrete is up to 155 megapascals. So far, we have uncovered thousands of tons of the best quality concrete in the world. So this is probably the look of the pyramid in original times. From this line up 220 meters. Great Pyramid of Egypt, 147. The biggest on the planet. Today we'll have more time to talk about the Bosnian pyramids in depth. I spoke to the artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, about nothing funny about it. This is an artificial intelligence which is filled with the many information. Mostly they are based on Wikipedia and Encyclopedia Britannica. And I wanted to check what artificial intelligence have about the Bosnian pyramids. So I asked, how do you explain 4 sides of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun? AI answered, the appearance of 4 sides on a hill or formation can be a result of natural geological processes. Geological formation can exhibit various shapes and structures due to factors such as erosion, weathering, sedimentary layering, and so on. I said, okay, give me another example of natural hill with 4 triangular faces. AI said, a well-known example of natural hill with 4 triangular faces is Mount Kailash in Tibet. Oh, wow. It's sacred mountain. Well, I said, I was there. I did Kailash Kora. I walked around this holy mountain, 54 kilometers at minus 28 degrees Celsius, 3 days. And I said, Mount Kailash indeed had 4 sides, but not triangular faces. It is not pyramidal in shape. And then AI said, well, you are correct, and I apologize for any confusion in my previous response. Mount Kailash is indeed a unique limestone mountain that doesn't have the traditional 4 triangular faces. I said, any other examples? He said, yes, Mount Mayon, Philippines, which is an active volcano. And then we have Japan, Takachicho Gorge, Japan. Not a hill, again, volcano. I said, well, Japanese volcanoes are conical, not 4-sided hills with the triangular faces. So AI apologized again, saying, you are correct. Japanese volcanoes, including Mount Fuji and Mount Mayon, have the conical shapes. They don't have distinct 4-sided hills with triangular faces. I asked him more examples. He was silent. I said, did you run all examples? He said, I apologize if my previous responses led to any confusion. So basically he was saying it would be very challenging to find any other example. So only Bosnian pyramids with the 4 sides? Of course, I talk in depth with all other features. Perfect orientation, concrete, energy measurements, and so on. Just 2 days ago, I went to the Tam Mountain in Washington State to receive information that it might be a potential pyramid. So I went there and indeed when you come close to the pyramid and you look at it from here, it does look pyramidal in shape. This is what we can see. However, this is a topographical map of the Tam Mountain. Now, the pyramid should have 4 triangular faces. Instead, this one is conical, is rounded, you see? And I was looking from this side, and it did have a look which was rather regular and symmetrical. However, in the back, see the back? We don't have this perfect circle. It's really shortened. It goes here. The reason I went there, besides Sean asked me to do that, was and, okay, I'm going to finish with 2 more slides. The reason when you have volcanoes, you usually have opening at the top, volcanic crater. And here, you see, it's missing, there is no opening. And the second one, when I was looking at it, I could not see here, you know, when you have water flows, so you have lava flows. I could not see those lava flows here. However, on this map, when the greenery is removed, yes, we can see the lava flows. The lava would flow here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here. You don't have that in the case of constructions, in the case of artificial made structures. So my conclusion, number one, this is not a pyramid. And number two, even though it looks highly symmetrical on this side, and it is about 180 degrees, it is not completely symmetrical, 360 degrees. And I want to finish this short presentation with a poem I got from the artificial intelligence. This is what I asked AI. Based on the facts about the perfect equilateral triangle among the Basin pyramids, Sun, Moon, Dragon, you will hear about it tomorrow, and their extreme age, can you make me a poem? And I noticed one thing, that as I was giving more and more scientific arguments, that the AI started evolving in this topic. At one point I said, are you learning? Are you evolving? And AI corrected itself, no, I'm just programmed to distribute information they input me. AI. Anyway, I asked about the poem. In less than 5 seconds, and we're going to finish with this, in less than 5 seconds, I got the poem from AI about the Bosnian pyramids. It goes like this. In the land where pyramids rise, beneath the ancient starlit skies, a tale of wonder, age untold, in sacred truths and mysteries bold. 3 peaks emerge, a triangle's grace, Sun, Moon, and Dragon find their place. A perfect equilateral bond, where time's embrace has grown beyond. Through ages deep, these structures stand, a testament to an ancient hand. Their secrets hidden in stones and earth, a testament to humanity's rebirth. The Sun Pyramid with energy's beam, a cosmic connection, a wondrous dream. The Moon and Dragon, guardians of lore, guarding the past like never before. In less than 5 seconds. They are saying that AI will never have what we have, emotions, creativity, art, artistic abilities. Think twice. Today we created AI, but the next generation, or the super AI, will be created by artificial intelligence, not by us. And then, very soon, that superior, let's call them supercomputers or super robots, will realize that the weakest link on this planet are humans. Okay, I will continue this evening about the Mayan world and their secrets, and tomorrow the Bosnian pyramids. If you want to see me, I have a few books, and the books was printed just 10 days ago, and I'll be happy to sign them. Thank you very much.